Richard Quest, ένα όνομα συνυφασμένο με την ανάλυση των οικονομικών εξελίξεων. Ο δημοσιογράφος που άλλαξε τον τρόπο παρουσίασης των οικονομικών και κατάφερε να βάλει την επιστήμη της οικονομίας με τον πιο εκλαϊκευμένο τρόπο στα σπίτια των τηλεθεατών του CNN. Ιδιαίτερα γνωστός στην Ελλάδα, καθώς ήταν ο άνθρωπος που το καλοκαίρι του 2015 κάλυψε για το CNN τις κρίσιμες πολιτικές και οικονομικές εξελίξεις.
There is no other way to put this. Here in Greece, a financial calamity has just arrived. Greece has defaulted.
3 χρόνια μετά, ο Quest επιστρέφει στην Αθήνα για τις ανάγκες της εκπομπής του. Βρεθήκαμε μαζί του και συνομιλήσαμε για το τέλος του ελληνικού μνημονίου, την κρίση της Ευρωζώνης, το πώς είναι η Αμερική του Τραμπ, αλλά και το πόσο ο ίδιος διασκεδάζει την οικονομική επιστήμη.
Down the road. It's Quest's world of wonder, and the idea is really very simple. It is to go to interesting places and meet fascinating people. So with that in mind, you have an entire world to choose from. And the cities that we have chosen have been those that have had some reason, some crisis, something in their recent past that gives good cause to go.
Ich bin ein Berliner.
German is a notoriously difficult language for the novice. And some years later, the story, of course, took hold that what Kennedy actually said was not, I am a citizen of Berlin, but ich bin ein Berliner, which means I am a jelly donut, a tasty German treat. So, for instance, the first one in the series is Washington. Now, obviously with the Trump administration coming in and the changes taking place there. The second one was Berlin. Not only, of course, with its post-Second World War history, but also the immigration issues that it's had. And the third, of course, is Athens.
Your presence in Athens coincides with the end of the Greek memorandum.
Exactly.
What do you think about the developments from now on?
Well, look, you have a straightforward set of economic facts. Growth has returned, unemployment is starting to come down, the fiscal deficit has become a surplus, the government, as a result, should be able to go back to the market for financing in the future, but has such a large cash buffer that it's 22 months of financing that it's already got. So if you just look at it on paper, Greece is doing okay. Not brilliantly, but okay. But if you talk to the people here, they say the reality is very different. €300 a month salaries, pensions that are continuing to be cut, people continuing to leave, 500,000 people youngsters having left so far. And that is this discrepancy between the economics and the reality is what I think is going to be what suffers Greeks over the next few years.
Professor Kevin Featherstone recently said to BBC that Greece has saved the Eurozone. Would you agree with this point of view?
In the sense that the issues from Greece forced the Eurozone to make changes, yes, he's probably right. It forced the ECB to undertake a true role as a central bank, whatever it takes. It forced the Eurozone ministers to come together and agree a raft of proposals, the ESFS, the ESM, all of those sort of facilities and mechanisms which were put in place. And ultimately, it has forced the Eurozone to put itself on a more sound footing. So yes, in a sophisticated way, he is right. The Greek crisis did save the Eurozone, but it saved the Eurozone from itself. All the various measures that have been put in place during this crisis should have been there in the first place.
Okay.
So you have a crisis that starts in 2008, 2009, the Lehman crisis, that then becomes a banking crisis, that then becomes a sovereign debt crisis. And you know, if you look, it's not just Greece, by the way, it's Ireland, Spain, Portugal. All the mechanisms that were put in place for all these countries put the Eurozone on a more solid footing.
And is Europe wiser now?
Oh, that's a very dangerous question. You say wiser.
Yeah.
You mean? They're certainly better informed and they've certainly seen what can happen. And I think they certainly have become so frightened by what nearly happened that yes, they are probably wiser. But does that mean the whole thing couldn't happen again in some other way? Absolutely, of course it could. And if you look at the debt leverage ratios, if you look at the way debt is coming back into Europe, back into the United States, if you look at the markets, absolutely similar mistakes could be made in the future. The only difference is the banking system is better capitalized and the macroprudential, if you like, the plumbing of Europe's financial system has been repaired. And now President Trump...
Για πολλά χρόνια, κεντρικός οικονομικός αναλυτής του CNN, ο Ρίτσαρντ Κουέστ σχολιάζει με τον δικό του τρόπο την οικονομική πολιτική του Προέδρου των ΗΠΑ, αλλά και το κατά πόσον αυτή μπορεί να επηρεάσει τις σχέσεις με τον υπόλοιπο κόσμο.
I wish I could answer that question, because we're not sure completely what the economic policy is based on, other than make America great again. Now, if, you know, he has had a huge success in getting Congress to pass the tax relief and the tax reform package. That was a major achievement of the administration. But he's now also managed to get into a trade war with Canada, Mexico, Japan, the European Union, and just about every other, and China. So he has called into question the stability of the global trading environment. And that's a very dangerous thing to do. Now, at the moment, everybody believes the worst is not going to happen. That's why the market continues to rise, by the way. That's why people aren't shunning. People don't believe the worst will happen.
The accident.
Well, they don't believe he'll push it to over the cliff. But he has almost got there. If you look at, for example, I mean, let's take the most recent. So he has NAFTA negotiations, which he turns into a bilateral deal with Mexico. He specifically says, NAFTA's no more, we have a bilateral deal with Mexico, which the Canadians can join if they want. And he gives them till Friday. Now, the reality is, you know the old line, where does the 500-pound gorilla sit? Well, wherever it wants. The United States is the biggest economy. Its trillions of dollars worth of value is important to Canada. Therefore, Canada has very little choice but to go along with it in some shape or form.
And is America great again?
The American economy certainly is great again. Good growth, anywhere between 2 to 3%, maybe just around about those numbers. Unemployment at a 14-year low. Inflation relatively tamed, with interest rates going up to moderate growth. Remember, if rates are going up and there's no sign of inflation or minimal inflation, it's because things are going well, that you need to control the monetary policy. You need to take the froth off. You need to calm down the economy. And that's what's happening in America. So you have a scenario where on the surface the economics look extremely good. Now, underneath the surface, some people will point out there's a large number of people who don't have jobs or are not working to their full capacity. There is certainly a greater level of racial divide and racial disharmony and diversity issues than there's ever been in recent times. All of these things, the critics would say, can be laid at the door of Donald Trump.
Richard, you seem to enjoy very much economic science.
It's fascinating.
Is it fascinating?
Of course it is.
Many people wouldn't agree with this.
All right. You can look at economics as being some grand subject that with lots of numbers and market data, and the Dow did this, the DAX did this, the dollar, the euro, the yen. Or you can look at economics as being those people three years ago outside this hotel that couldn't get money from a cash machine that was closed. Or you could look at economics from those people who left this country because there were no jobs.
It's about 500,000 of them.
Right. That's real economics. So when you talk about the excitement of economics is it's real life. Now, I can make it as boring as you like, with numbers and statistics and details and nonsense, or I can simply talk about the reality of people's lives. Remember what economics is. Economics is how we earn and spend our money. That's our business coverage on CNN, and that's why you ask, am I excited? Of course I'm excited about it. Absolutely. It's not just money, it's about people's lives.
Richard, it was very nice talking with you.
Good to see you, sir. Thank you very much indeed. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.